here as well. This is magnetic, so we can mount our blade on here just with the magnet, so that's what we're gonna do today. You can also set your P10 or your P20 to 5 microliters, put a dab of super glue on your Petri dish, and pipette 5 microliters of super glue along here. That will help attach your blade a little bit better. The downside to that is that then you have to soak this in acetone to get your blade off. The upside is that it's really quite securely attached, more than just the magnet. Do not ever put acetone over here. Acetone can only go on this when it's detached. And it has a handy little acetone bath. That's what this guy is. So you can pipette a little bit of acetone in here, soak it for a minute or two, and then your super glue should be coming right off and you will be able to remove your blade. We're just going to do the magnet today for demonstration purposes. These blades that we'll have people order and bring are double-sided, so we only need half. Be very careful with them. They are incredibly sharp. So you can see there's a sharp side over there, there's a sharp side over here. Please watch out for jumping sharp stuff, but you just use a pair of regular old scissors to cut them in half, like this. Please, I just can't stress enough how careful you have to be. This overhang is bad for cutting. You can see it's over the line where you want to line it up, so you have to cut this off as well on both sides. Okay, now our blade is ready for mounting. And whoops, some of it went right on here because it's magnetic. You just want to slide it right on here. It should be centered, so you want it to be right on here like this. We don't see, except for these little bits, which are okay, we don't see any of the actual blade hanging over. So that would be off center, that would be off center, but we want it to be perfectly centered on here like that. And you can see on this side it's flush against this side, it's not offset at all. So now we can put this back on. Again, the circles go out. Just tuck this back in here and then use our little screwdriver to, oops, shaky hands. Make sure that is tightened. All right, we can put this other blade back in. I am going to trim it first, just so that the next person doesn't forget. Sorry, throwing little bits of metal everywhere. And all of the consumable numbers for things to order are in the manual. Okay, by now our agarose should be solidified, so we can take this off. This can be stored in a drawer. Just remember to come back and grab it when you need it to be cold. Hopefully this is nice and solid. Oops, yep, we can see if I push it, it's coming out. We want it to stay just two, and we're going to put it in this hole that's right here. We can adjust it a little afterwards. Right, so this tab moves the box back. That gives you enough space to thread this through the hole. You can adjust your white part a little bit and then push this tab down again on the right and slide the whole box forward. You can see that the piston is not touching the white tube and we need it to just touch. So we're going to hold our forward button down and watch it with our eyes until we see it just meet. And we don't want it to push it too far, so we'll just leave it like that. And then the last thing we need to do is fill this up with cold PBS. If you're going to be sectioning for a long time, you should also fill this outer tray with ice. We can do that just for good good practice, but we just will be using it for a little time, so it's not super important that we have it all the way packed. But if you put ice in here, that will help keep your PBS cold all the way through your sectioning. I haven't yet found a better way to do this than by hand, which obviously makes a little bit of a mess. Maybe we'll get a little scoopula for that. Okay, and you can see that you have to put this in before you fill with cold PBS, otherwise the PBS will come right out this hole. So this just goes in the inner chamber, and we want to fill it up so that the specimen tube is all the way covered. Whoop. So it's almost all the way to the top. A good way to do this is with a graduated cylinder. Bottles work too. And then depending if you have fixed or frozen, no, not frozen, you can't have frozen tissue. Depending on if you have fixed or unfixed tissue, you'll want to section into either PBS or into fixative, and we'll collect these sections using a paintbrush. So I'm going to set it to continuous just to get started, and then we'll see what we can see. So now it's on continuous, and I'm going to start. I don't know if you'll be able to see well on camera, but it will eventually start sectioning off pieces of agarose. I don't know if you can see, but there's one here coming off. We won't get to the tissue for another minute, but keep a close eye on it. And you can see it's going pretty slow. That's okay to start. We might want to turn the speed up. But you can see that it will go all the way down to the bottom, and then it will retract. There it goes. And it's cut off just a piece of agarose with no tissue in it. I don't know if you can see that on camera, T. I can also fish it out with the paintbrush. Whoops. So this is a useful thing to bring your forceps for. Sometimes it's hard to get the agarose out. This is just agarose, not tissue, so I'm not too worried about smushing it, but you basically have to fish it out with whatever way you can. That one's thick because it's the first one, so it'll be a little tougher to get out, but we'll grab another one. And if you want to stop the sectioning so you can fish your sections out, just hit stop. That will stop the machine. You can go in and look for our next section, which actually I don't see where it's got to, so it must be floating around. Oh, is it over here? There's our first one. There should be a second one in here now, but because there's no tissue in it, I don't see it. Start it up again. There we go. So there's one section. That first one, because of the surface tension, was way more than 300 microns, so it was really hard to pick up. This one I can pick up nicely just with my paintbrush. We'll lay it in the dish. And you can see that there's no tissue in this one. It's, here, let's put it in the light. it's just agarose. So we'll want to wait to collect them into solution until there's actually tissue in there.